so much for having me here. It is always a pleasure to share the latest insights that we've learned in the industry. And I'm really looking forward to making sure that this is a really high impact experience for the audience. So here today, what we're going to talk about is how you can make a compelling case for the PMO. If you are new to me, here's a little bit about me and the kind of work that I've been doing. So I've spent about 24 years developing project management and change capability, helping organizations build PMOs. And 15 years of that role was of that experience was as a PMO leader and executive, what I call on the inside. So that means that we've spent a great deal of time, I've spent a great deal of time in your shoes as a PMO leader, understanding what it takes to make that case for a PMO and, a lot of the mistakes that we make along the way. And I'm going to share with you today what I believe is the best way forward to ensure that your PMO gets that right support right from the start and you are able to build the sustainable and high impact organization you're intended to build. After I spent about 15 years in the role of PMO leader inside organizations, I realized, there's some things that really work. There's some practices that make a lot of sense, and I want to make sure to share that with others. So I started my company, PMO Strategies, and I've been running that for about 6 years. And as I mentioned, we do a lot of training and coaching and consulting programs for organizations around the world. And I also, if you don't know about it, there's this fantastic organization called Project Management for Change that I started 5 years ago with some amazing colleagues, and it is an entirely volunteer-run organization whose sole purpose is to help organizations, nonprofit organizations around the world, achieve their mission-critical objectives using the power of project management. I encourage you to check it out. It's called the Project Management Day of Service. It's our big events we hold, and you can find out more about that at pm4change.org. So here's what you're going to discover in today's webinar. First, what to consider when you're making the case for a PMO, what data you need to collect, and a little bit about what data you don't need to collect, and how to make a straightforward business case. And I'll talk about what that means and why the importance of being straightforward in your business case and really, really laser focused on the outcomes you're going to create are going to be critical to your success. But before we go there, I want to spend a couple of minutes talking to you about the mistakes that we make in this role. Some of these are mistakes that I've made, and others are mistakes I see my students and my clients making when they're first trying to get that ever-critical support for the PMO. And one of the things that I see is people if they do put a PMO proposal together, they don't really have all the facts. And we'll talk about what facts are actually critical to making that case. They focus on the type or the model. Even back early in my career, I remember focusing on, well, what's the type of PMO, and are we going to be directive or consultative, or what are we going to focus on managing projects or programs, and really narrowing our scope and our opportunity by getting so focused on what type our PMO should be. And what we'll talk about today is why that can push you in the wrong direction and make it such that you are missing key opportunities to deliver value in your organization. Now, this is a big one. Have any of you ever been told that you should sell the PMO or spend a lot of time convincing the PMO leaders that they need a PMO? This is a big one, and it can be absolutely frustrating because, think about it. When's the last time you went into a situation where you were feeling the heavy sell, where they were pushing you and convincing you and cajoling you or pressuring you that whatever they wanted to sell you was the thing you needed to have? And there are some much better techniques that are going to help you get exactly where you need to go with your PMO, and you don't have to do any selling or convincing at all. So we're going to talk about how to address that. And finally, I know I certainly felt like this from time to time. I remember early in my career, after I'd built my first few PMOs back in the late 90s and early this century, and I remember thinking, I know the medicine that they need, and I'm going to tell them what they need to fix, their problems they're having with project management, or they making assumptions about where the opportunities the PMO should pursue without digging in and really getting my facts together and the right information in front of me. So we're going to talk today about this plan, this approach that will help you avoid these common mistakes and start off on the right foot to get that much needed support. But here's the problem. We have this uphill battle that we're facing, many of us, not in all organizations, but in many organizations, there's a lot of challenge with the PMO brand. Sometimes people say, well, we don't do a PMO because they don't work, or PMOs are slow and overhead, and they're just going to get in our way, especially now that a lot of us are in this realm of PMO, fight against Agile. A lot of times Agile comes in and they say, well, we have no need for the PMO, or we have no need for project management. And that's a whole nother conversation. But many of us in our organizations are fighting with some of those ideas about what the PMO should be or is, and it can help, it feels like it's an uphill battle as you're trying to make your case for the PMO. For example, a lot of times PMOs are just seen as a cost center or overhead, and that's missing a huge opportunity for you to be what I call an ROI generator, a return on investment generator. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Many PMOs often create more bureaucracy than actual benefit, and that's the sad case in many organizations, which is why they have such a bad rap. Now, I'm sure that's not the case in your organization, or that's the case and you're trying to fix it, but often that can be a real challenge to kind of the brand that you need to create with your PMO, or people go running because they say, oh, no, we tried that and it didn't work, and it just slowed everything down. And this is a big one we'll talk about today, is ROI. Every one of you on this webinar needs to shift your focus to being an ROI generator. And we'll talk about what that means and why, no matter what kind of project you're running, ROI is a key factor. And your PMO needs to be thought of as a way to generate that return on investment for the organization. The PMO value proposition is unclear, or it's written in project management terms. If you're speaking PM speak to your executives and your stakeholders, they're going to have no idea what you're talking about. And if they have no idea what you're talking about, it's going to be very hard to make the case for a PMO or to make that value proposition clear. And often, the business leader expectations are not set correctly up front or throughout the process. So they're going to make up their own minds about what the PMO should and shouldn't do and where it should and shouldn't provide value unless you are directly tying what you do to the impact that they need to see, the pain points that they need to see. So we'll talk about that today as well. And finally, there's sometimes...
Hi there, I hope you enjoyed that last clip. My name is Michael Maludis, and if you'd like to watch the full 60 minutes of that last webcast, while also gaining complete unlimited access to our entire library of IT learning, simply visit our subscribe page at greatpro.org/subscribe. Unlimited annual access is $199 per year, but if you use the coupon code LEARN to earn, you can drop that membership fee to just $149. That's less than $13 per month for unlimited access to over 1,000 hours of on-demand career development, covering the entire spectrum of IT management best practices, including business analysis and requirements, software development, quality and testing, risk management, process improvement, project management, and even digital transformation. But your membership doesn't just give you unlimited access to our vast learning library. You also get free access to our mobile app, as well as direct access to our network of over 300 of the world's leading IT consultants, all of whom are dedicated to putting practical knowledge at your fingertips so that you can learn more and earn more. I hope you will join me in becoming a member of the Great IT Professional and advancing your career with us. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button above so that you get notified whenever we publish new free webcasts each week of the year. Thank you for your time and best wishes for your continued success.